What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake, MLB DFS Wise Stream, CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above, or directly at wisetake.com. Take your DFS game to the next level. We are a premium DFS content provider, as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Go check us out, wisetake.com. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe. Hit the notifications bell. Make sure you're notified whenever we go live. This way you don't miss out on any of the free content that we do. We do a lot of free content. A lot of free stuff here. Monday through Friday, going to be doing these. Well, we've been already doing these, right? But going to start doing these the night before, as promised. And we're starting off it tonight, Sunday night, about 10:15 p.m. Eastern. We went ahead and got the stats loaded up, good to go, for a pretty decent looking slate. What is it, 9 games? Why is it terrible? I think it's 9 games. Double check. 9 games. Yes. And yes, as I did put in the thumbnail, it's Matt Harvey Day. So happy Matt Harvey Day to all of you. Now, when I say it's Matt Harvey Day, I leave it up to your perception to take on what you think that means. Whether it's you think it's Matt Harvey Day as in Yankees just, tee off on them in Baltimore, or is it Matt Harvey Day where everybody stacks the Yankees and Matt Harvey trolls you? Either way, it's your own version of a Matt Harvey Day. So I'm curious to hear from you guys. You tell me in the comments below. What is Matt Harvey Day to you? What is your game plan to attack? Because off top, it just seems like that's going to be one of the bigger decisions you have to make on the day, right? Yankees currently implied for 5.1 currently implied for 5.1 runs, which I think as of right now, again, it is night before, but as of right now, with no cores and no line out for the Houston game, though even if there was a line, I don't think it'll be higher than what we have for the Yankee-Baltimore game. The Yankees will be the highest implied run total via Vegas. So decisions to be made. It's Baltimore. I'll say this. It's Baltimore. Small park, right? It's the Yankees, but the Yankees have been ice cold. Harvey's been escaping lately. He's been kind of doing his little dance. He's been escaping. We got to be honest about that. Yeah. Rule number 1, honesty with yourself. You need honesty with yourself to build them teams correctly, right? But yeah, it's Matt Harvey Day. We'll get into. I'm certainly not going to pitch Matt Harvey, so I won't include him in the pitcher portion of the show. But we can discuss in the offenses, and I'm curious. Those of you who are able to watch us live, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what you plan on doing, Matt Harvey. Be nice if I could pop a little poll up here. You learn how to use that shit. You learn how to take advantage of that shit. Okay, let's go into some of our pitching matchups. We are going to start things off with the ace of the day. And the ace of the day, in my opinion, is Corbin Burns. This guy's nasty. Last season, a 2.11 ERA with a 2.99 xFIP, 36.7% K rate, highest on the slate. Looks to be in phenomenal form. Looks even better than we've seen And he's playing Miami. And granted, the park isn't great. It's Milwaukee, one of the smaller parks. But it's still Corbin Burns, right? So obviously in cash games, that's a given. In tournaments, we'll have to see how highly owned he is. I would assume he ends up being fairly high. And I'm okay with that. Because you got a 36.7% strikeout rate, you beautiful thing, you. You beautiful thing, too. Urias against Cincinnati. He is home. He's looked really good this season. Cincinnati's a tough offense. Be real about that. They are a tough offense. Cincinnati currently implied for 3.3 runs via Vegas. We say Vegas, but it's not really. I mean, most of the lines originate, from my understanding, offshore anyway. So I guess what I should be saying is line makers, whomever that may be. But Corbin Burns has you beat Urias, whatever, as Miami currently implied for 2.8 runs. Miami. That's right. The team who was playing against Corbin Burns. You know, I really don't know what to make of this kid just yet, man. I haven't seen enough of a sample. He's been dealing with injuries. The Dodgers have been cautious with him. He's looked good this season. But as far as pricing goes, on DraftKings especially, I think he's a little too close for Corbin Burns. And we could go the double spend-up route, except I think there may be a couple other arms we could at least consider. So I just don't see a world where I'm clicking Urias over Burns. And I don't see too many. I don't know if I think he's worth that much money just as an SP2. It's one thing if the slate was so awful, pitching-wise, that he would be the optimal SP1. But I don't know if I want to pay all up for a second pitcher when I'm already paying out the ass for Burns, and I will be paying out the ass for Burns. You see what I'm saying? Tyler Mahle, I faded you the other day. Well, I shouldn't say fade. People misinterpret the word fade. What I should say is go underweight. I went underweight on Tyler Mahle. In fact, I think I had a bunch of leverage stacks of the D-backs. As a matter of fact, that didn't work out very well. He's got tremendous strikeout stuff, and he looks a little better this year. He does. But he still gives up a lot of hard contact. He's still a big fly ball guy. And he's playing a Dodger offense that is really good. I don't think I'm into Tyler Mahle. I am definitely not into Tyler Mahle. I didn't do it last time against Arizona. I'm sure as hell not doing it against the Dodgers. Not at these prices. That's how I should have worded that. More confidence, more oomph. Zach Wheeler, I think, is not appealing. He's not really getting a ton of strikeouts. On FanDuel, you could argue at 8,300 that there's something there, but I'm just not that interested. His strikeout rate is gone. I don't know where it went. It's like the Mets kept that when they traded away Wheeler. They kind of kept his strikeout stuff. He's still a good pitcher. Still not giving up a lot of hard contact. Still has an awesome ground ball rate. Still a guy I don't want to attack. He's just no longer a guy that I want to pay $9K for, especially against a team that's not huge in strikeouts. You know what I mean? Simple as that. I think it's pretty straightforward. What's going on, all y'all? Solid picks. Good to see you, man. Wes Bearden says, I think both the Yankees and Orioles tee off on these guys. Oh, yes, we will get there. We will certainly get there. Trevor Rogers. I already see our boy Solid Picks in the YouTube chat saying that T. Rogers looking like a play. And I say absolutely. Last year, one of the more unlucky pitchers in the game at 380 BABIP, extremely high. 6.11 ERA does not tell a full story. As you can see, at a 3.67 xFIP, 3.86 SIERA. I don't think he played a whole ton last year. I think he dealt with some injury, but not a good park as we discussed. But he gets one of the best matchups you can get in terms of strikeouts, right? One of the best you can get in terms of strikeouts. So I absolutely think Trevor Rogers is a play. I think FanDuel's got his pricing to a very interesting point. I mean, you're not really saving it. He's the third most expensive pitcher, I think, over there. So at that point, especially on FanDuel where the pricing is soft, you feel like you just get the Burns. That being said, you'll get Trevor Rogers at extremely low ownership over there. On DraftKings, I think Rogers will be owned, especially in higher stake contests, because he looks like the first choice, right? Talked about Burns, easy. Then you get to Rogers and you're like, fuck it. Now, I know some people have discussed not liking to play pitchers from the same game against each other. I get the merit to a degree. I think on smaller slates, that kind of goes out the window. You just want to play the best arms. And overall, in general, I kind of just want to play the best pitchers. I don't worry too much about that. But I do think that there is that whole, only one of these guys can get the win, etc., etc., etc. But strikeouts are king. So if they have the strikeout upside, that's all groovy. Strikeouts are king. But Milwaukee, one of the highest strikeout rates on the slate. And then Rogers, man, he's got some good strikeout stuff, man. He does. I think, maybe you start your cash games off at this point with Burns and Rogers. Don't hold me to that. I do write a core plays article on WiseTake.com, and I will put in my final thoughts there. This is obviously Sunday night, but as of right now, that's where my mind's going. Actually, there's probably one other place we can go. And it's not necessarily Urquidy, although I do think Urquidy's fine. Right? Really cheap on FanDuel, 6-7. 8,200 on DraftKings. I'm too close to Rogers. But there's a couple of things going for him. You could argue that it's Seattle. That's an argument. You can argue that the park is better in Houston than it is in Milwaukee, which it is. But the guy that I was really talking about was Charlie Morton. Playing the Cubs. Now, hear me out. The Cubs, I know they looked like they were heating up. They swept the Mets. And they put up a lot of runs, I think, against, some shitty pitchers, some bad bullpen stuff. I think Morton's pretty good, though. Wouldn't you agree? Last year, 4.74 ERA tells a different story. xFIP wasn't as low as I'd like. Did have a high BABIP, but he's got some strikeout stuff. The Cubs do strike out. Right? It's one thing that we've noticed about the Cubs. They do strike out. We've seen that. That's a thing. So I think Morton, and even as far as public perception goes, when I break out the big words like that, even as far as public perception goes, if I can find this damn tab, I will make a point. I ain't gonna find this. Oh, clicking the wrong thing, guy. Even in terms of following the line makers, if you will, Cubs currently implied for 3.7 runs. But Morton is a favorite, whereas the Brewers are implied for 3.7 runs, and Rogers is an underdog. That being said, I give two fucks. But I think maybe Charlie Morton in cash over Rogers, I can understand. But in tournaments, definitely going Rogers. And I still think in tournaments, even regardless of who the popular cash game SP2 is on DraftKings, I still think we're going to see some pretty significant ownership on both these guys. It's true. Who else of interest? Manaea's coming off a really good game. He gets Tampa Bay. That's one of the more polarizing spots, I think. I think initially when I was thinking of how we could change the show up, out of habit, I kind of fell into the same format as always. But what I wanted to do was just kind of touch on the top pitchers, top offenses, and things I'm excited to see. I'm actually excited to kind of see this because Tampa Bay, coming off a World Series appearance, is one of the best teams to attack with pitchers in DFS. They strike out so damn much. Regardless if this game was in Oakland or Tampa, both these teams play in very pitcher-friendly ballparks. Manaea's coming off an excellent start. You could argue that he was a little unlucky last year, just looking at his ERA relative to his xFIP. Ground ball rates have looked good. I'm not a huge Manaea guy. I'm not, and it mainly has to do with that 20.3% strikeout rate. I think he's more of a that than the elite. I don't like to rely on BABIP. I like to go for the strikeouts. But when you're playing a team like Tampa, it almost increases. You have to kind of increase the strikeout projection because they strike out so damn much. On the flip side, as I say this stuff about the Rays, they're also a very talented offense. And even though they play in a big park, they're capable of putting up big runs at home in this park. We've seen it done countless times. So this is one of the spots that I'm actually just I want to sit back, watch, and see what happens. Ohtani, I don't have any stats from last year. He didn't pitch really, but obviously he's pretty good. The concerns or the questions that we have here is a pitch count thing, right? Let's see if DraftKings has any pitch counts for us. Let's just check that real quick. Does DraftKings have any pitch counts for us for Mr. Ohtani's last start? See? This is the damn problem. Okay. Here we go. So he last pitched on 420. 1 hit, 6 walks. Damn, man. Who was this against? 6 walks. It was against these very same Rangers. He only went 4. He threw 80 pitches and only went 4 innings. 6 walks will do that. 7 Ks though. Strikeouts are still there. Strikeouts are king. I went for 18.2. He gave up 2 ground balls and 1 fly ball. So they didn't really touch the bat. It was either walk or strikeout. Could play that game. He threw 80 pitches. I would think that they let him throw a little bit more. That's usually how it goes. There's no guarantee with that, but usually, they try to build you up a little bit. So I think that he's in play as an SP2, at least in tournaments, right? Yeah, why not? 7-7, 9-1 on I don't know about 9-1 on FanDuel. FanDuel gets crazy. It's like they try to concentrate ownership on like just a few. Like I can see Urquidy being the trendy cheap guy over there. He's like the only cheap guy. Wheeler's pretty cheap over there. No, thank you. I mean that's really it as far as pitchers that I would actually consider. I'm not interested in Davies, Wainwright. Rich Hill's been a disaster. This is another one of them spots. I think Means had a pretty good game against Oakland and Baltimore. Another lefty in Rich Hill. Rich Hill looked like a complete mess so far. He's very cheap. If you think you need it, we don't have cores. I don't think I need it. I don't know. I feel like we can make shit work with the pitchers we have, whether it be combinations of Burns with the Rogers, the Mortons, or just a combination of those three. Now listen, there's probably some low-owned guy that I'm just dissing that's gonna go out and do things, right? And to be clear, I don't think Urquidy's a bad play at all. I just think that 6-7 on FanDuel kind of stands out compared to the rest of the field and the prices of a lot of these guys. As far as some offenses, now we can talk about. What was this? Wes Bearden says, I'll stack some Rangers if Ohtani is popular. Damn, man. It's going right for it, man. I like it. It's going right for it. I don't know how popular Ohtani will be on FanDuel. He won't be popular at all. On DraftKings, I don't know how popular he'll be because he does have to fight through. Number 1, Corbin Burns will be extremely popular. Number 2, I think Morton and Rogers will also take some ownership away. So I think that like he'd be like on the 3rd tier, like SP2, 3rd tier type shit. You know what I mean? That's where I think he'd be in terms of ownership. But I respect it, man. Baseball, especially, man. Just find a little own plays. Plays. Dirty neighbors all day. Do thy dirty all day. Little own plays, yes. Anyway. As far as offenses go, Matt Harvey is the highlight, right? What do we do with Matt Harvey? So Matt Harvey has been a little bit of a troll this year. I'm sure Baltimore has just been cautious with him. I mean, we could take a look at his game logs. That's something we could do. Pull up the old DraftKings again. Get Matt Harvey's game logs. Oh, Matt Harvey. All right, so on the 3rd, right? You guys can see this, right? Of course you can. On the 3rd, he played Boston, 4 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 Ks. 4 Ks, man. 4 Ks. 7 ground balls to 6 fly balls. What the fuck? Played Boston again. 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, a little more like it. 1 home run, a little more like it. 5 Ks. 11 ground balls, 4 fly balls. What the fuck? Against Seattle. 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2, both earned, 1 home run, okay, 1 walk, 3 Ks, 6-6. We're getting a little even now. Ground ball to fly ball, 6-6. Then he played Miami. 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, no home runs, no walks, 4 Ks, 11 ground balls, and 2 fly balls. So he's been improving his ground ball to fly ball ratio, is the moral of the story. He's also got a theme of giving up anywhere from 2 to 4 runs in each start. Has only given up 2 home runs, surprising. But only 2 of those games were at home in Baltimore, and one of them was against Seattle. Huh. I said it. This is against the Yankees, man. What's going to win out? The Yankees have been ice cold. Obviously, they're the optimal stack. I think in cash games, we will see the Yankees ridden up across the industry. They'll probably be in my article in the cash game section. What we need to consider is, are there other offenses that have the kind of upside that could beat this out? And I think that the Atlanta Braves are in contention. I kind of think it's interesting that the total. So, of the A's-Rays game. So you got the A's are implied for 4.4 runs. The Rays are implied for 4.2 runs. I'm curious to see which way that total goes. Because it seems kind of high for a big park. Manaea's on the hill. I know Rich Hill hasn't been that great, but I don't know. But I think the Braves probably be like your next, chalk. The Angels have to be up there. They're against Lyles. Now, they're in that new stadium over there. So the roof is pretty dependent. This park has played very pitcher friendly when the roof has been closed. And Jordan Lyles, speaking of Jordan Lyles, another one that's been a complete troll disaster. Kansas City went for 25. Like, what? Got lit up against San Diego, but notice though a theme though. He's given up at least one home run in every game. Gave up 2 against San Diego, and at least 2 earned runs. Actually giving up 3 runs in 3 straight games. But he's another one that just like, what happened? And I know baseball made a change to the balls, like to de-juice them or something like that. That's what they said, like to I don't know, I guess limit the damage. After denying that they touch the balls to make them more aerodynamic, they finally admitted it by saying they're going to make a change. But maybe that has something to do with it. But I mean, yeah, this is another gas can. So I think those are your 3 like optimal offenses to start. You could argue, I mean, you could throw in probably Houston into that mix. You could probably throw Houston into that mix against Justice Sheffield. But I think that for me, anyway, initially, the Angels, the Braves, and of course the Yankees appear to be the optimal ways to go. And we can get funky, we can get different. One of the ways we can get different, like in the chat, it looks like Debbie Garcia is going to pitch for the Yankees. I know we didn't really get into him too much. Didn't have his stuff pulled up, but I don't know. He's going to start. We'll do some more. We'll get some more information on him. But obviously the Baltimore offense is kind of interesting when you consider parks. If we like the Yankees in this park so much, Baltimore's in this park too. And they haven't exactly been the biggest pushovers, right? They haven't been. What about leverage? Let's talk some leverage. I think we could see. So you know what offense? I do think people are gonna think if the Dodgers weren't so banged up, I'd probably get behind them a little bit more. Late night hammer. Nobody's playing the Dodgers, and they're literally one of, if not the, you could argue, the best offense in baseball now. At least their main roster is. When I look here and I still don't see Cody Bellinger, it hurts a little. But you still got Mookie Betts, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Will Smith's been coming on strong. So I think that could be interesting against Malley. Dodgers are a team that typically don't strike out a ton. Playing a pitcher who gives up a lot of fly balls, hard contact, and relies heavily on strikeouts. It's going to be fun to watch this article. What the fuck? It's going to be fun to write this article. I'm reading shit at the same time I'm talking. That's an issue. Don't multitask when you're on a stream of some sort. But yeah. Anyway, we'll summarize this up. So pitching, obviously Corbin Burns, we talked about that. I don't see a way that we're, not using him in a bunch of teams. And then take your pick, Rodgers or Morton. I kind of am feeling Rodgers a little bit right now. Kind of feeling that call. I like this dude. I've caught this dude a couple times. Against the Mets, I caught him pretty good. I did not catch him against Baltimore, but I don't think he was on a slate because I would have. He has no salary, so I would have, but I didn't because I would have caught him. I didn't. I like that. You can easily sub him out for Morton. And then as far as offenses go, the Yankees will be the optimal number 1, and they'll probably have the highest ownership, as they should against Matt Harvey in Baltimore. I think the Angels are somewhere on that list against Lyles, at least for me. Right? The Braves are on that list against Dickcock, what's his name? Zach Davies, yes. I'm not a Zach Davies guy. Zach Davies, it's not one of them guys that like him very much. So Braves are on the table. And then I think in terms of, now I'm talking optimally, right? Like in the article tomorrow, I'll get into more like taking shots on teams like maybe the Dodgers. I'll look into those kind of situations. But optimally, I can see Houston, who seems to be heating up. I can see Houston, who seems to be heating up, get a little trendy against Sheffield, because Sheffield sucks. That's just the truth. I'm not trying to be mean. Jenna Sandy says, I think there will be a lot of Harper one-offs. Harper did double dong in Coors today. He wasn't on the main slate, but he did double dong in Coors. This is true. Harper is facing who? The Wainwright? I could see that, yeah. I could see that. I think he'll get some ownership. I don't know if people go out of their way specifically to just grab a whole bunch of him, because we got some pretty good hitters. But you know what? I think you're right. Why wouldn't they? He double donged. He gets a righty that people don't really think is that good anymore. I respect Wainwright a little bit. He's still got me. He's showed me enough times that I respect him a little bit still. But I think that's a good point, yeah. Harper probably will. Probably will be. All right, before I get out of here, I'm going to do a little something that we used to do when we initially did the MLB show, something called the Dong Watch, right? We're not watching dongs. We're guessing who we think is going to hit a dong. So who's on the Dong Watch, right? Like Dong Watch, like watch out for this dong. You see what I'm saying? And I'm going to go with a Dodger. Let's go with a Dodger. Which Dodger is hitting a home run off Malley? Got to pick a lefty. I think I'm going to go Seager or Muncy. Seager or Muncy. Let's take a look at this. Let's make this decision together, guys. You never do that thing where you have two computers and you're typing on the wrong one? I just did that. All right, Max Muncy, what have you done? Max Muncy has not been hot. Max Muncy has been ice cold. Disastrous. Seager, have you been red hot? Not great. Seager's been, but you know what? They just had a tough series with the Padres, so like Blake Snell and all these dudes. Before that, Seager was kind of hot, right? Like, we'll go Corey Seager against Malley. He's going to be my hero. We'll pick a Yankee. Do we just say Aaron Judge for the fuck of it? I mean, you can see from a price standpoint now with Seager and Burns and Rogers, like, that would kind of hurt. You know who's got, I mean, this guy's been killing me. Okay, Wes Bearden says Stanton Seager. You are saving $1,000 to go with Stanton, and you typically like to play Stanton against guys who don't strike out a lot, who don't have a lot of strikeout upside, because Stanton strikes out like a motherfucker. So we could do that. It's going to hurt us salary-wise. We could do that. Just an idea, though, and you guys are probably going to hate this idea, because I kind of hate this idea. But somebody who's had really good success over there is Gleyber Torres, right? He started off the season pretty damn cold. He's somebody, though, that has had a lot of success in Baltimore. But I'm not going to pick Gleyber. I'm going to go with Stan because our boy Wes Bearden is helping me out. He's participating. So my dude, Wes Bearden, we're going with your boy, Giancarlo Stanton. Let's go. We got to pick one more. We can either pick a Brave. We could do a Brave. I'm not doing Harper because we already made the example that Jenna Sandy pointed out about Harper, and I agree with that. But we'll do a Brave, or we'll do an Angel. No, let's do an Angel. Let's go. So Trout's day to day, and there's no way we're affording Trout. Right? Schebler's 2,800. If Schebler gets another start, I mean, he hasn't done shit either. He had 2 doubles the other day. He has a 2,800 though. That could help. 2,800 Scott Schebler. That's the long one right there. Seager, Stanton, Schebler. But if Gleyber Torres hits a home run and Stanton doesn't, I just want it to be known that I brought up that little thing. But I'm a man of the people, so we're gonna rock with Stan today. And that's our Dong Watch. All right, Nation. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. First time doing the show the night before. We used to do this all the time. There was a time where we did this all the time, but that time is no more. But that time is now. So we will be doing these shows again Monday through Friday. The slate's Monday through Friday, really Sunday through Thursday, I guess. When I can, man. I'm human, man. I got a daughter and shit. There's some days where I can't do that before. I just can't do it. Suck it, eat it, deal with it. But we're going to try to do them that before it gives people some time to watch and hopefully catch some more people live so we can interact and, I could talk to you guys, get your opinion on shit. That shit matters. Don't forget to check us out at WiseTake.com. We got day passes available. If you can, get a monthly membership or higher over there. Get into our Slack chat. Come talk it up with me, Paulie, the rest of the WiseTake Nation. And, we'll do dirties and drop sevens. This is what we do. That being said, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.